Hello everyone! I'm apologizing right now because this video isn't exactly nerdy, but I'm going to show you how to do something specifically for cosplayers and hopefully anybody who wants to get into cosplay or help people with cosplay. So it can be nerdy, it just isn't particularly nerdy. What I'm going to show you how to do is actually how to make a sloper for your bodice. Now this one is specifically for women. The men's one's pretty easy. I mean, it's just a lot of straight lines, but women have a lot more curves with their bodies. So let's go through what we need. So you're gonna need rulers. So I've got two straight rulers here. I've got one that's see-through, and then just a regular metal one. I also have two clear curved rulers. So these are called French curves. I got this one on Amazon for like $2 or something, and this one at Fabricland for like 15. You're going to need some cutting utensils to cut it out when you're done, some paper, pencil and eraser is best. I'm also going to use a Sharpie to, okay, so what you normally want to do is actually do it in pencil, but just so you can see exactly what I'm doing, I'm going to do it in Sharpie for today. What I normally do is actually do it in pencil and then trace the outline in Sharpie. And a measuring tape as well. This one's actually to measure you, and for any lines that go longer than, say, your ruler, you probably want to do it a little bit easier. Okay, I'm having some lighting issues here, so I'm really sorry. I don't live in a great apartment for the lighting. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is actually measure yourself. Now, to do this, I'm actually going to change shirts for two reasons. One, it is ungodly hot in this apartment. And two, this is actually a men's shirt, so it doesn't necessarily fit the way I need everything to fit on my body while I'm measuring it. So, changing time. Ta-da! Okay, so now what you're going to need is you're going to need your measuring tape, your pencil. I've taped my paper to the wall. You want to take down your measurements. And we're going to go ahead and do it. So, the first one that I have written down, that's the bust. So that's right along the largest part of your breast. And just put the measuring tape all the way around and measure to where it sits. So another thing for the measurements, you can use imperial. I find that it's a little bit less accurate than doing it with the metric system. So I'm always going to do all of my measurements in centimeters, especially for this. Next measurement you want is your waist. So that's the most cinched in part of your body. So mine's about right here. Next one is your neck. So it's just all the way around on the base of your neck. Surprisingly hard to do with necklaces on. Next one you want to do is your shoulder. So from the very bottom of your neck, all the way to the edge of your shoulder. So that's actually pretty much right where the shoulder starts curving down into your arm. Mine is 14 centimeters. So now from your nape to your waist, you're going to go from here right to where you measured for your waist. Okay, the next two measurements are going to be a little bit harder to do. You're actually doing the span of your chest and the span of your back. The back is probably going to be a little bit harder, so if you have a partner to help you do this, get them to help you. Otherwise, what I do is I just kind of hold my hand sort of parallel or perpendicular to my body and do it that way. And then same thing for your back. Alright, so this other one is also a little bit hard to actually measure. What you're going to do is you're going to measure from your shoulder around the front and down to the middle of your armpit. Like basically where most shirts sit, which is a little bit higher than where this one sits. So those last three measurements, all three of them can actually be estimated from all of your other measurements, which I'm going to go through as well. Okay, so we finished measuring everything that we actually can measure ourselves. The only other thing that we need to do now is, there's a few other calculations that we have to do. Now, if you haven't done your back and your chest measurements and the arm side measurement, it's called, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So for your back measurement, you want to take note of exactly what your entire bust measurement is. So if your bust is 92 centimeters, then you're going to add 1 centimeter to 34.4. So for every increment over 88 centimeters of 4 centimeters, that you're going to put another centimeter onto that measurement there. And same thing for under, but you're actually subtracting it. Now, in this particular bra, I don't actually have to do anything, so I'm lucky. So for the chest, it's a little bit different. Basically the same idea, though. You're going to be adding to a measurement. But instead of 34.4, it's actually 32.4. And you're adding 1.2 centimeters. Or subtracting. So if you're 92 again in the bust, then you want to add 1.2 centimeters to 32.4. Again, if you're under 88 by 4 centimeters or by 8 centimeters, you want to subtract 1.2 for every 4 centimeters. For the arm side depth, there's actually a table for it. So I'm only going to do part of it. I have a whole bunch more measurements for this, but basically from your bust size, depending on how big you are on your chest, then your arm size is going to be the corresponding amount. And honestly, you can even extrapolate from here. You can actually go, oh, if I'm 92, then I'm going to be 21.4, because it's literally just going up by 4 millimeters every single time. Now, there is another calculation that we need to do. This is something that you cannot measure. It is literally impossible to measure. It's the dart. So this one, you're going to start with 7 centimeters. Now, same idea with the chest and the back. For every 4 centimeters above or below 88 centimeters, you're actually going to add something. But so for the dart, so if your bust is 92, you're going to add 0.6 centimeters. Again, I'll write these formulas down in the bottom, so don't feel bad if you have to keep coming back here. Okay, so there's 2 more things that we have to calculate before we actually get going. There is one more that's optional that I will go through, but it is optional and it's up to you. So the ones that we have to do, I'm going to call them the L segment and the T segment. The reason I call them the L segment and the T segment is because of the actual points that it refers to on the pattern itself. So this one again is another table. So on the left side here I have the L, on the right side here I have the T, and in the middle I have the bust. So depending on exactly where your bust corresponds, then you're gonna have those measurements in mind. Okay, so this next one is optional. This is just if you're actually going to be finishing it off at the waist. I personally like to do it just because if I want something fitted, then I have it fitted. If I don't want something super fitted, then I don't have to do it. So the standard for it is to add 18 centimeters of give, and that's from your bust size because that's how long it is. For a lot of people, that doesn't work. For one thing, you want to take that 18 centimeters down from your bust line. Now, a lot of people, the reason it doesn't work is because you can't have the number go below your waist plus 6 centimeters. So for me, it really does not work at all because that's going to bring down my bust. My bust is only 87.6 and my waist is 75.6, so that's going to go way below. Okay, so what I do is I take my waist measurement and add 6 centimeters. So that makes it 81.6. And then I take my bust measurement and take that off, and that is how much room I have to work with. So that is only 6 centimeters. Okay. So for this particular one, I only have 6 centimeters of room to work with for the darts. Now there's 3 darts. How I normally do it is, because I have the allocation from the original standard 18 centimeters, I actually do percentages from there. However you need to do it is how you need to do it. We complain that we wouldn't need math after high school, and now we're using it. So however you need to do your waist darts, you can do it. Again, this is optional if you're finishing this garment at that waist line and not adding any give to it. Okay, so because I've done all my math early, I'm going to make a nice list of all of my measurements, which I've already done. And that's just going to make everything a little bit quicker for you. Okay, so you will still need your calculator. I use my phone. If you have, I think I had a calculator around. I don't know where it went. And then we can go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is start your origin point. Now, I like to go 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the side because I like to make notes in the top and the side. So you're gonna make a dot and label it O for origin. Now, I am doing this in Sharpie, or knockoff brand Sharpie. I do recommend doing it in pencil because you're gonna make mistakes. I've had a little bit of practice at this and I want you to see what I'm doing, and pencil doesn't show up on my camera very well. So I'm doing Sharpie. Now the next thing I like to do is, because we're gonna be using these lines a lot, I like to make a line pretty much all the way down to the bottom of the page. I also like doing this on a poster board because it makes it a little bit, it's a little bit nicer when you're actually done the block and it's easier to trace out. The next thing I'm going to do is actually just draw a line pretty much all the way along the top. I'm not going all the way across my board just because I don't actually need like a good portion of this. From here we're going to take our ruler and we're going to measure down from the origin point. We're going to measure down 1.5 centimeters. And that's going to be your point A. Now from point A, you're going to need to measure your arm side depth plus 0.5 centimeters. So you might need your calculator for this. Depends on how you are. So my arm side is 21 plus 0.5, so it's 21.5. Where are you? And that is point B. So from here, I'm going to draw a perpendicular line. I'm going to draw the line first and then measure it because it's going to be a little bit easier that way. So I need to use this thing. So mine's 87.6. Divide that in half. And then add 5 centimeters to that. It is 48.8. I don't have a ruler long enough for that, so I like drawing the line out first and then measuring it after. So for this part, I'm going to square off my lines here. So right at that point, oh, sorry, that point's labeled C. So from point C, I'm going to draw a line up, and this is going to be a 90-degree angle line. So this one can get a little bit tricky depending on how large you are in the bust. Anything over 92 centimeters, you're actually going to go over the line for where your origin point is. I don't have that problem. So if you're above 92 centimeters on your bust, then you want to add 1/8 of the amount to the amount above the line that you're going. So if you're, as an example, if you're 100 centimeters in the bust, then you want to add 1 centimeter above that line. Now, if you haven't drawn a line all the way across, what that measurement is actually your arm side depth plus 2 centimeters again. Okay, so the next one we're measuring is actually the nape to the waist. So we're doing that from the origin point down this AB line. So mine is 36 centimeters. So from here, again, we're doing a straight perpendicular line. We're doing it the same length as the B to C line. Point F. And then you also want to make sure that you're continuing the C to D line all the way down. Alright, from our origin point again, you're going to need your calculator. You want 1/5 of your neck measurement minus 0.2 centimeters. So my neck is 33.5 divided by 5, and then minus 0.2, 6.5. So this is one of the points where you need your nice fancy curved ruler. Now if you don't have a curved ruler, you can use a dinner plate and slide it along. That doesn't really work when you don't have circular dishes. Mine are all square, so I actually have to do it this way. If you feel comfortable freehanding it too, you definitely can, because it's just a little bit of a curve. Okay, so now we're going back to point A again. We're taking our arm side measurement and we're dividing it by 5 and taking off 0.7 centimeters. So mine's 21, dividing it by 5, and then take off 0.7 centimeters. So it's 3.5 centimeters. That's my H point. And then you want another straight line across. Now you want it half of the distance between B and C. So that was 48.8, so I want it 24.4. About anyway, you can make it a little bit longer. Okay, so now what you want to do is we're going to take our small ruler again. This one's going to be a little bit fun. I'm actually going to use my pencil to help me place it. What you're doing is you're taking your shoulder measurement and adding 1. So my shoulder measurement is 14 centimeters, so I'm going to measure to 15 centimeters. Basically, you want to slide along your ruler until that line actually, until that measurement actually matches up with this line here. So it's easier to place your pencil at the corner there and then just rotate that along. So that point is point I that we just measured to. You also want to mark halfway between the two lines. So mine's 7.5. We're going to call that one J. So from here, you're going to measure 5 centimeters down and 1 centimeter to the side. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. This one's K. This is actually for another dart. This is for the shoulder dart. This one's a little bit tricky too, because what you want to do is you want 1 centimeter taken out of the shoulder, essentially. But you also need both of these lines to be the exact same length. And the J is the middle point of the dart. So let's see. I'm pretty lucky and I can do mine at 5 centimeters. See what I mean though? You're gonna make mistakes? You're gonna make mistakes. Do this in pencil. As long as this J point is in the middle, you're okay, but you want both of these lines to be the exact same length. Okay, so now we're going to point B. Down here again. We're gonna measure half of the back plus 0.5. So my back is, I'm gonna use 34.4, whoops. Take that in half and then add 0.5 centimeters. So it's 17.7. This is L. Another 90-degree angle line here. And this time you're going to just that line that we had drawn for the H. Whoopsie. Sure. And that's M. Now this is a construction line, so you shouldn't be drawing it in very, very darkly. Then you want to measure between these 2 points and mark the halfway. So mine is 18, so I'm going to go 9. That's N. So same idea between B and L. We're going to find the halfway point between the two. And mark it off. This is P. And another 90-degree angle line. This one's Q. Okay, so we're mostly done on this side. Now we want to switch all the way to the other side. We're going to measure down. We're going to measure 1/5 of the neck minus 0.7. So my neck is 33.5 divided by 5. And then take off 0.7. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry, we're measuring the other way. So we're actually measuring towards our origin points. That is R. Okay, so this time we're measuring down. And it's 1/5 of the neck again, minus 0.2. So minus 6.5. That's point S. So those 2 points we're going to connect together with the curved ruler again. Again, you can use a dinner plate. See, mistakes again. Use pencil. Okay, so now for C. So from C, we're going to measure back towards B. We're going to take half the chest plus half the dart. So that dart is that weird 7 centimeter one that we can't measure anywhere, but that's how it is. Alright, so we are going half of the chest plus half of the dart. So my chest is 32, 32.4, divided in half. Now I'm using 7 centimeters for the dart, so it's easier to just put 3.5. So it's 19.7 for me, and that is point T. So now you're seeing where the L and the T segments come in, but not quite yet. And then we're making another 90-degree line up, and to about the same point that our other line goes across to. Now we're going to find the halfway point between T and C. So 19.7. I'm going to cheat and do math. 9.85. And we're going to do another 90-degree line. And this one is V. So now down this line, we're actually going to measure 2.5 inches or 2.5 centimeters down from point U. Now this one is actually going to be labeled BP. This is your bust point. So I'm just realizing I didn't make mine actually long enough. I measured from the wrong point for the nape to the waist. Oops. So from our point, we're going to measure the dart. So I'm using 7 centimeters. Whoops. This is point W. Now we're going to draw the line from the bust point to point R. And also to point W from the bust point. Okay, so we're going to go back to this weird area right here. I'm going to call it the MI area. So from the line that actually connects H to M and I, we're actually going to measure down 1.5 centimeters. And then I'm going to draw in a line across here. So draw it in lightly because it's actually just a construction line. Here we're going to do one of our pivoting tricks again. I'm going to use a pencil to help me do it. So we're going to measure our shoulders. So we're going to do, mine's 14, and you want to make sure that you pivot so that your measurement actually lines up and connects with that line that we just drew. And that is point X. Okay, so now from point T, we're going to take our arm side again, and we're going to measure 1/3 of that up from there. So arm size 21 divided by 3 is 7. Oops. I'm going to measure up 7 centimeters. That's Z. Sorry, that's Y. And then we're also going to find the middle point between L and T. So so this is 11, so it's about 5.5 here. Now that is Z. All right, now we're getting into those really weird segments. We're gonna do the T and the L segment. So there's no actual angle for this, but you wanna measure up from the L. Now, depending on, again, that table. So I'm using 2.5 for the L and 2 for the T. Again, mistakes, they will happen. You also need to measure down from Z, another 90-degree angle line. And then this point is double A. So now we get into some trickiness, and this is why I totally recommend one of these. You want to measure that. So you need to measure a kind of a circle. Oh, this is, let me use this one. It needs to go from Z through this line for T, through the Y, and through the X. So this is interesting. Okay. And then the same thing on the other side, but it's going to go through this L line, the N, and the I. So that's actually where your armhole is. Okay, so this is the only mandatory part. The rest of it is those weird darts that I was telling you about. So if you want to finish right here, go for it. If you want to keep going, all right, we're doing it. I'm doing it anyway because I like it better. Okay, so our first step from there, this is for the optional darts as well as just if it's being finished off at the waist. We're going from this D to F line. Okay, for this one we're measuring down depending on your bust size. Anywhere from 0.5 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters. I'm gonna go ahead and use 1, which is right where my line ends. That's perfect. This is BB. And then you're gonna draw a line all the way across. Now that is gonna be nice and interesting for me. So I don't have a long enough ruler. Okay, so I just did my calculations again for my darts because I realized I went off the wrong measurement. So, all right, so for the darts, how they're normally laid out for the 18 centimeter give, they're actually 2.5 for the back dart, and that's where this line is here. 3 centimeters for this dart here, and 3.5 for this dart here. Now, that doesn't give me quite enough room. I only have 16 centimeters to work with instead of the 18 centimeters. So, I'm gonna go ahead and measure these. And there you have it. So now all you actually need to do, now that we're done the optional part, is you actually just want to cut it out. Now, I don't necessarily like using scissors. I find that I can't get it very precise around the curves. So what I like to do is actually use a little X-Acto knife. Now, this is why I have my cutting mat underneath here, is because I like to use this. Don't use your good knives or your good scissors for this. Use crappy ones. This thing's from Dollarama. Okay, so now that you've cut it out, you should have your back piece, which is half of your back, your front side piece, and then your front piece. So altogether that actually makes your block. Alright, so that is how to make a basic bodice block. Now that is for women. Sorry guys, it's a little bit different for you. I'll probably do one in the future. I haven't actually made that one yet, so I might be a little bit before I do that. Also because I need a dude to measure for it. I'll figure something out. Anyways, so again, it's not nerdy, but it totally has the potential to be nerdy, because using that pattern, or using that block, you can actually go and make pretty much any pattern from there. You can make your costumes for your Jedi costumes. You can make, pretty sure you can use this to actually make a bodysuit too, if you're going to go as like Harley Quinn or any of the old school X-Men. Pretty easy for anything, actually. Alright, so this was actually a pattern block that I found online a long time ago. I think like 2 years ago. It was the only one that I found online that I really liked. So that's all going to be linked in the bottom. It's from a Bodice style user that I can't pronounce his name. I don't know if it's Gedwoods or Jedwoods. I'm assuming Gedwoods, because we pronounce it GIF, not GIF. As always, thank you for watching. Tweet me, Instagram me, all that jazz if you have anything that you're working on right now. I love seeing things that everyone else is working on, and the only people I get to follow are my fellow cosplay friends, so I love seeing what other people are working on too. Alright, you guys have a great weekend. Bye.